Willimantic, Connecticut, also known as Land of Swift Running Water, is a town filled with small businesses, railroads, and factories that no longer run. At the end of the Civil War into World War II, Willimantic was the center of production for silk and cotton thread, soon being named Thread City for having a mill built on the banks of the Willimantic River. In 1828, Willimantic was the largest employer in the state and the largest producer of thread in the world to use electric lighting. In 1985, the American thread moved to North Carolina, leaving the town's economy to plummet. As of December 2014, the town's unemployment rate is 6.2%, with a job growth of 1.5%. The town claims that it has been working to provide jobs for the unemployed, but the projection rate for the next 10 years is 36.8%. Going hand in hand, the homeless rate since 2014 has decreased by 13%, with the exception of seasonal shelters and relocation. But since then, with no job and no home, the unhoused have sought shelter by the Willimantic River. Here, they set up tents along the river where they have access to water to wash their clothes, set fires to make meals, and utilize the ground and river for any sense of survival. This is not by choice, but something that they have become susceptible to due to the lack of resources, housing, and help from the town. A recent article by the Chronicles wrote about a cleanup taking place along the river and under the footbridge to make it more eco-friendly and attract more residents and tourists. Because it is on private grounds and is owned by the railroad company, Matthew Vertife, the Wyndham Director of Code Enforcement and Development, negotiated to get permits from the company to clean up the property. However, in the article, Vertife stated the town has no obligation to relocate those people. Environmentally, the river and its place in the community has been doing great. There have been no risk or harms to anyone due to the unhoused living by the river. David Guran, the director of Wyndham Water Pollution, tells us what he sees when he's out by the Willimantic River.
Typically we operate less than 30% of our allowable limits. So our daily limits are, say, 50 milligrams per liter of BOD or TSS. We're typically operating in the 8, 9, 10 milligram per liter range. So we're putting out, very clean water.
We spoke with Lee Duffy, director of the No Free Shelter, who gave us her take on the article.
In trying to pull apart these issues and make it look like this is a black and white issue, it's just people are camping out there and they shouldn't be. It's not correct. You have to look at the entirety of the issue. We're willing to bend over backwards and do whatever we can. It's going to take everybody. It's going to take your funding your own town human services department so it can help people, which is underfunded and overworked over there. It's committing to solving the problem, which requires some not only verbal commitment, but requires resource.
These resources being provided are scarce and are funded by non-profit organizations that is really underfunded to those who need it. Jim Bolano, the Director of Economic Development, spoke to us about how the town's goal right now is to build more small businesses in hopes of making a college town and to attract tourists to the main street it used to be. He also mentioned there being available student housing above the businesses and veteran housing off of Main Street, but that projected date isn't in focus right now. It's the revenue to replenish and fund more town projects. As the story unfolds, we reached out to Mary DeMarco, Wyndham's Director of Human Resources, to understand why the town is unable to divide its focus to something that is chronic in today's society.
A lot of the people that come into town are from other towns. They come here because of the services, and Willimantic is the bigger city around here. So we do have other people from surrounding towns that come here because of the services. I don't think it's fair to Wyndham or Willimantic to have to take care of people from the surrounding towns, and then it becomes Willimantic's problem.
It's hard to turn a blind eye to this situation when you see the unhoused. It's even harder when you hear about how they got to the position they are in now.
Thank you. I think they're too. They don't understand. It's easy to sit inside a nice, comfy home and look out your window and sit there and judge somebody who doesn't have that luxury.
You know?
So you're not tenting by choice, right? It's
No.
just there's no housing provided.
No, and there's like a VA waiting list. Then there's the housing waiting list. And you know, as soon as you get on it, you're bottom of the list. So you know, you're like, you know, dead last right here, and you're just waiting. And then you know, I guarantee a couple years down the road, while I'm back in Hawaii with my son in 6 to 7 months, they're probably gonna call up my phone and be like, "Oh, you want to know something? You know, we got you on the housing list, blah blah blah. You know, now here's your housing." And it's like, I'm gone already. What are you talking about? You know, I'm gone already. It's sad. You know, all these young kids that are out there in a tent and they don't even know what to do with themselves. They're unprepared for this way of life. You know, everybody's so dependent on technology that they don't know how to like understand that, okay, you're homeless. You know, focus on the other things that are more important. There's some, you know, that are like, oh, we got to get this, and this for the site. You know what? No. Take it from nature, you know, like build up your campsite, get yourself prepared, get yourself ready, because I can already tell you, it's going to be one hell of a summer.
Something has to change. Something has to give. And in order for these people to benefit from the changes the town is making and not seek refuge by the river, we have to deal with the problem, not push them aside.